focus. Ideate, innovate, enable. The Policybazaar Insurance Show.
For someone who's been covering the insurance sector for the last many years, I can vouch that the emphasis on taking insurance to each individual, to each home, to each family, and to each business has never been more. The insurance regulator, with bringing principle-based regulations, has simplified various operational requirements. At the same time, insurance companies have responded positively. It is this collaboration which has made India the 9th largest life insurance and 14th largest general insurance market in the world. Also, a market which is one of the best and still improving claim settlement ratio. But the protection gap in India still stands at 97%. 65% of the health expenses in India still happen out of pocket. More than 50% of the vehicles on the road are still uninsured. Insurance penetration in India is just at 4% versus global average of 7%. Insurance density in India is still at about $98, whereas the global average is $853. Clearly, there's a long way to go, and the insurance regulator has introduced the industry with the destination at the end of this long way: insurance for all by 2047. Hello and welcome everyone. I am Yash Jain, and together with Policybazaar, we at CNBC-TV18 bring you the Policybazaar Insurance Show. It is where we break down the complicated world of insurance for you, our policyholders. I am joined today by Sarbvir Singh, the Joint Group CEO at PB Fintech, Vibha Padalkar, the Managing Director and CEO at HDFC Life Insurance, and Nilesh Sathe, the former member Life Insurance at IRDAI. Nilesh sir, to start from the regulatory corner and see the industry through that lens, the regulator, of course, has spoken about insurance for all by 2047. What are some of the things which are low-hanging fruits for the industry to achieve this target? And since it's a very ambitious target, what outcome do you think, will the industry achieve?
The first thing is target is a must. Second is it possible? I think yes, it is possible. Why it is possible? GDP is going up. Per capita income is increasing. After the basic needs of roti, kapda, makan, as we say, they get satisfied. The next need is of insurance. And when do you buy insurance? Once you come up to that level, when you can save after spending on roti, kapda, makan. And when per capita income will increase, obviously everybody will think of insurance first. Second is the PMJJBY type of schemes, where at a very nominal premium of 436 rupees, you get a cover of 2 lakhs. More and more people, because everybody has got a bank account, and going forward, everybody will have a bank account. So, insurance for all is not just something which is not possible. It is definitely possible, it is doable, and everybody in the sector, all stakeholders have to join hands, right from the government, to see that this is achieved.
But Sarbvir, exactly where these policies try to target? For someone like Policybazaar, who has 8 crore registered customers, how do you take the idea of insurance to these people who are completely right now out of that financial literacy band? And more importantly, how do you introduce the right products to them? Because the start is going to be very important.
So I think there are 2 points. One is that amongst the people who are in the financially, let's say, literate band, there is a lot of opportunity to get them on board as well. So I think that is the part where awareness and more, understanding of insurance is needed, so that they can understand that this is something which is there to protect you. Because still there is a concern around whether I am sort of so-called wasting my money on something which may or may not be used, which is correct. But I think the first thing is that of the people who are financially literate and financially capable, we need to get them across the line first. The second thing is the next set of people that you said, where perhaps the financial literacy or income may be lower. There, I think the good news is that even they are now digitally, at least on digital platforms. So they are there, they are looking over there for information on various things. And if we can take these schemes which exist, and I believe there the government will always have a larger role to play than perhaps private industry, where we can take these schemes and popularize them and make sure that people are aware where to buy this scheme, how much does it cost, how will the claim be administered, etc.
One of the largest life insurance companies, multiple distribution channels. My question to you is, how do you convince people term insurance is the first thing that you should look at when it comes to life insurance?
The industry, the growth in term is faster in most years than growth in overall growth of the sector, which means that as a percentage, we're going up. 10 years ago, it was about 1%, if I was charitable. I think about 0.8% of APE. Today, it is comfortably 8-9%, just retail. And then if you add other forms, group and so on in terms of term and receive premium, it is as high as about 45% on receive premium basis. So we are moving the needle. Yes, it appears slow because if you look at premium, I have to sell maybe 2 or 2.5 policies of term to get one saving. So from NOP, number of policies basis, we have made significant inroads, and I think the acceleration will happen. Also, we haven't wasted a good pandemic, wherein no longer are people generally asking, why do I need term, which they used to ask earlier. Now coming to how much do I need, there are various methods of doing it. But I would tell people, let us not, over intellectualize. Get something more than nothing. Get something more than 10 times cover that today only a savings policy will give you. Let's move beyond that. But I think we're some distance away from getting stuck in just the complexity of it. It's fairly simple. I think we should, more is better.
Sarbvir, according to you, do you think we need more standardized products?
As far as the standard products are concerned, I personally believe that the products that we have today are fairly straightforward, especially in term insurance, because as you know, it's a very, very simple contract that if you are not there, then your nominee will get paid that sum of money. So I think the product is very straightforward. It's very easily available. Again, as ma'am said, there is a return of premium variant, there is a no return of premium variant. So you can buy the product. The riders, etc., unfortunately, I think come into play only because sometimes the selling system is trying to increase the ticket size or whatever. So my suggestion to everyone would be that buy the standard product first. The riders also actually are relatively simple to understand if you really want to, but I think there's no need to engage with them. The basic product, if you buy, you are in great shape. And I personally feel that right now all companies are offering a plain vanilla term product, and that is widely available. And of course, you can compare on Policybazaar and you can see which variants are there.
Sathe sir, to speak about the testimony of it, the claims, as you see the industry, are you satisfied with the kind of claim mechanism which currently exists?
Claim is one thing for which a person buys insurance, maybe a maturity claim or a death claim. So one gets satisfied if it is a seamless journey.
Absolutely.
Till he gets a claim. And from that point of view, the existing mechanism that insurance companies have is fairly good. Of course, improvement can be there any number of times. A couple of things which insurance companies should do is, what happens when maturity comes, many of the policies are paid up and the claims remain outstanding in respect of these paid up policies because there is no communication between the policyholders who have discontinued paying premiums further for the last 5, 6, 10 years. So intermittently, insurance companies should get in touch with them even if they have stopped premium. So this is one thing which, and with digitalization, more and more insurance companies are doing it and they should do it.
Vibha, I want to understand from you something that all life insurance companies, all general insurance companies have been doing, targeting a state, talking to the authorities there and increasing penetration one state at a time. You've been doing it with some of the big states. What has been your experience?
In one line, I would say first you create awareness, you create accessibility, and you have affordability. If with these 3 A's, there is no doubt that people on both ends of the spectrum and of course the missing middle will have to be solutioned individually to be able to give bite-sized insurance, easy insurance, group insurance, so that we all get towards insurance for all by 2047. A partnership between insurers, the government and the regulator to see how we can penetrate it. So the idea is simple product through village level entrepreneur, go to a Gram Panchayat level. That's what has been charted out and all of us are working towards it.
Another model which which everybody has a lot of expectations out of, is the Bima Trinity, Bima Sugam, Bima Vahak and Bima Vistar. I want to understand from you, what does this model in a very short explanation intends to achieve?
Bima Sugam is a platform which is very much required because you'll be in a position to find products of all insurance companies in one place. But it's a digital platform. Now, what happens, if it is not as robust as it is expected right from the beginning, then who are going to onboard that? Obviously, the youngsters like you, not people of my age. And about the youngsters, I tell you, they have very low level of patience. If at all I log in and find, oh, the page is not moving forward or there is some glitch, I will not only give up, I will not come back to that platform again at all in my life. So initially, when you come out with that platform, it has to be properly built. There should not be any glitch and it should be seamless transaction for the youngsters, because mainly youngsters are going to use that platform.
Correct.
Just think of, the digital platform was made available as direct by mutual fund industry almost 12 years before. Even today, there are only less than 10% of the people who buy insurance on that digital platform. So there is nothing to worry about. The other two initiatives of IRDAI, really good, but time will tell to what extent they have been successful. Because Gram Panchayat, now not many are still aware that what is their role, what compensation they will get, who will be in a position. Now, women have been asked to be involved in this.
Correct.
To what extent? IRDAI wants minimum SSC for getting IRDAI license for selling insurance. Now, in small villages, whether there are women today who are qualified to that and who are interested in doing this. So, a lot of questions, but let it stabilize. See, let us not keep on criticizing the new initiatives. Let us try to find out if they are useful, they can be implemented. If you are going to get benefit out of it, well and good. If you find maybe after 5 years or so, no, this initiative has failed, withdraw it. What is wrong in that? But the ultimate aim has to be, by 2047, everybody should have insurance.
One big section which remains to be a challenge for the industry, for the ecosystem, is the missing middle. There is one section which gets covered through the employers. There's one section which can afford insurance on its own. In this entire tussle, the missing middle misses out. I want to understand from you, how do we place this piece of puzzle at its right place? And what will be the role of insurance companies like yours in addressing the missing middle, which is a large section in that sense?
It's a misnomer that these people are some very different. They are very similar in terms of their needs. The challenge has been, first of all, on distribution, how to get to them in an economic way. Now, there are many vehicles in terms of small finance banks, MFIs, RRBs, many others, state level cooperative banks. Most of us are tied up with several of them, because that way you can piggyback on their distribution muscle, cut your teeth, learn a little bit and then open your own branches. We have already been there and done it, and we started opening branches. For example, out of our branches we opened last year, 90% of the branches were in tier 2 and 3. If I were to look at our parent HDFC Bank and largest distributor for us, out of their branches, 4,000 branches are catering to the same geographies, the tier 2 and 3 or the missing middle.
Correct.
If I were to look at the agents we added last year, about 85,000 agents, 75% of the agents we added are in tier 2 and 3. You can't just lift and shift. So, it has to be customized to various things, their desires, what will work there, what kind of underwriting you're expecting, and so on.
Well, those are some words of wisdom, not from years, but decades of experience together on this panel. On that note, we'll take a very short break, but stay tuned, because on the other side, we discuss the all-important topic of health insurance for India.
The Policy Bazaar Insurance Show. The Policy Bazaar Insurance Show.
Welcome back to the Policy Bazaar Insurance Show. A health crisis in the family is one of the most overwhelming challenges that a person can face. What's worst, if that person does not have a sufficient health insurance cover or does not have a health insurance cover at all. Despite this, 65% of health expenses in India still happen out of pocket. For people who don't have a health cover, what are you waiting for? And for people who have one, are you sufficiently covered? To discuss this space, we continue our conversation with Sarbvir Singh, the Joint Group CEO at PB Fintech, and we are also joined by Anuj Tyagi, the Managing Director at HDFC Ergo. Anuj, to start with you, there is this growing mentality of people, assuming or thinking that if I buy a health insurance policy, it is as good as anticipating something will go wrong with my health. Or there is another equally damaging mentality where people think that I have enough resources that I've made in my life to take care of all my health expenses. To start with, please break this myth for our viewers. Why health insurance, despite anything that you have in your hands, is the most important thing?
There is a larger myth across the insurance products. Most of the insurance products are seen as an expense item. These are not seen as a risk mitigation tool. So most of us think that either I don't need it or I'll buy it when I need it. Right. Now, both the approaches are extremely faulty. And before I try and bust the myth, let me just give you some data points. And it would seem like a fear appeal, but we are discussing a larger topic which affects the society today. India is unfortunately the diabetes capital of the country. 1 in 4 cardiovascular deaths in the world are happening in India. We've seen COVID, and God forbid the COVID, I wish it doesn't happen to the humanity, but something else will come. So we today live in extremely uncertain times. We do spend on our gym, we do spend on our diets, we do spend on ensuring that we stay healthy. Why? Because as human beings, we are trying to minimize the uncertainty, we are trying to minimize the ambiguity. Insurance exactly does this. So even if I think that I have the sufficient financial wherewithal to handle any eventuality, first of all, that anybody who makes this statement keeping today in perspective.
Correct.
I am 50. Even if everything goes right with me, can I say I'll never see hospitalization? The chances are I will see in hospitalization. There is a higher probability of me seeing in hospitalization when I turn 80. Do I have the financial means to take care of my medical needs when I turn 80? So people need to keep in perspective, A, insurance and specifically health insurance minimizes the uncertainty. It keeps us it brings us the cocoon where we are certain that in case something happens, there is an insurance product that I have with me. And it brings in more certainty if you buy appropriately. As you said, even if we buy it, are we buying appropriate? So that's the angle through which I look at insurance, health insurance specifically. If we want financial certainty, if we want to minimize ambiguity in our life, I think health insurance is a must.
What can a platform like Policybazaar do to ensure that the trust remains important and it strengthens further at the time of claims actually?
Whether you are young or old, you must understand the product that you are buying. And I think from a customer's perspective, actually it's quite straightforward. They feel that if tomorrow they are hospitalized, the insurance company should pay money for that hospitalization. It's a very simple promise from their perspective. Now, unfortunately, real life is a little bit more complicated. You have to ensure that you have declared all your pre-existing diseases, any procedures that have happened to you, any medicines that you are taking, etc. So I think one of the first things that we do is to make sure that we understand what is the position of the person, what diseases, what medicines, etc., if any they have, make sure those are declared, make sure that the right product offered to them and finally sold to them. Now, minute you do that, the good news is that if you have bought the right product, you have declared everything, then the chances of getting a claim, especially if you buy from any, I would say, of the insurance companies in India, is very, very high. Because actually there is no insurance company, if you think about it logically, there is no insurance company which is actually set out to say that I don't want to pay claims. Now, the second thing is, if unfortunately something were to happen, let's say there is some confusion, the insurance company is not, is not clear about what the case is, we intervene on behalf of the customer and we explain. We try to explain, getting all three sides together, and we try to explain what is the perspective of both sides, what has happened, why we should, how we should look at it.
Having an insurance outside your workplace, how big of a risk do you think this can be for any individual? And what should be the right way to look at this particular approach?
People can buy policies with deductible as long as they're working in, as long as they are in employment. Once they leave employment, you can bring the deductible down to 0 and that becomes your base cover. The other thing people forget is that new policies will typically have a pre-existing disease exclusion, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the policy. So the earlier you buy, the better it is. If I buy my policy at 45, for 3 years I'll have a pre-existing diseases exclusion. So I think this is a topic which is a burning topic.
Sarbvir, I want to come to you for the last word, and I hope this is a positive one. You've come out with a report which gives a ground check, a reality check on what has been happening in the country with respect to claims, the kind of responses. Tell us something, some key takeaways out of that report.
So Yash, we spoke to over 2,000 consumers who have taken health claims or who were eligible for a health claim across the country. And what we found was that 94% of them got their health claim and they were very happy with the whole thing. So yes, while there is sometimes, there is a lot of discourse, especially on social media, where a few instances get blown out of proportion, but here 94% people were happy. The second finding from this report is that actually people, if they get a cashless claim, then their happiness quotient or their happiness goes to 97, 98%. And then of course, it's a little lower on the reimbursement side. And I think that's where the regulator and the industry, as you know, are moving to cashless everywhere. So this is one of the initiatives that is going on in the industry to have cashless claims everywhere. And I think that is borne out by the data as well, that more you can make cashless, the better off you will be. So I'll come back to the same point that I started with, that from a customer's or a consumer's perspective, insurance is actually very simple. I pay a premium. If there is a problem, I get a claim. And the closer that we can get to it, I think the better off we'll be. The good news is that we are actually quite close to it. I think it is incumbent upon us and the industry to talk more about this. I think this statistic of 94, 97, I think these are the kind of numbers which need to be discussed far more and positive use cases brought out. And I think that will really help increase awareness. All of us need health insurance, and hopefully all of you who are listening will go out and buy health insurance if you already don't have it.
Well, on that positive note, we come to an end of today's episode. Thank you so much, Sarbvir. Thank you so much, Anuj, for quite literally, literating our people, our target audience on something which is so important. But with that, it's an end to the first episode of the Policybazaar Insurance Show. The success of insurance for all by 2047, lies on, of course, the regulators' policies, but also on the initiatives that life insurance companies will take and your awareness. Remember, the right time to buy insurance was always yesterday. See you in our next episode, and till then, stay insured, stay protected.
The Policybazaar Insurance Show. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.